It's a multi-year move happening on the Bitcoin daily chart. This is years in the making. It sounds hyped. It sounds clickbaity, but it's not. This is years in the making to get here. Back here, this was years in the making, this resistance. And that's just what this is. You know, on this YouTube channel, we break down support, technical analysis, patterns, resistance areas. When we talk about resistance on this daily chart, this is it. This is multi-year resistance. I want to break down the move that is happening with Bitcoin right now, what I'm watching for, why the next 24 hours, around 23 hours, are so incredibly important to me as somebody that watches these Bitcoin cycles. And I also want to break down ADA charts kind of in context to what's happening with Bitcoin, what to potentially anticipate next for ADA on these charts and truly for altcoins in general. So hit the subscribe, hit the like. Let's jump into the video. This is the move. If you're unaware, I'm just going to set the tone really quick, really briefly, everybody. Fibonacci retracement, bull market high, bear market low. You all know it's the bull market doors in green. And that's where Bitcoin has just broken into a little bit. Once again, you can just see it here. It on around a month ago, it kind of touched that 618 area resistance, bounces down, and right now you can see at that area, Bitcoin is there. This is incredibly important for Bitcoin. Now, the resistance area it's just a Fibonacci retracement is Bitcoin in this case pulling back, and it's just retracing from a prior area that is the bull market high. It's retracing up, right, to this 618 area. That is to say around 62% back to the upside. And it's resistance. This is a resistance channel up to that 786. But the whole reason I call it the bull market door is just I want to kind of give a little bit of a history here is because it's not to say it's going to be resistance and Bitcoin's just going to keep falling. It's to say if Bitcoin breaks through and starts closing candles above, that is incredibly bullish confirmation. So yeah, we have resistance here, and that's why we should be careful, especially on this daily chart. But it's very, very bullish, the fact that Bitcoin is even testing this area. What's really cool in terms of the move itself, because this is a multi-year move. I did this video. I'm not going to show you a clip. This is February 6th, 5 days ago. Bitcoin was around $43,000. We were talking about the Bitcoin pattern that could launch Bitcoin higher, namely to the bull market door area, right? $43,000 just above. And the pattern played out. And here we are. We're like, not even a week later, and the move happened. And it's green candle after green candle on the daily. And Bitcoin has hit the target out of the inverse head and shoulders that we were discussing, hit the target, and now we're at not only the target of the inverse head and shoulders, but we're at multi-year resistance. So very simply in this video, there's not too much to say other than what I'm watching for in the next 24 hours. And as you can guess, that is, can Bitcoin break into this area? Can Bitcoin truly break into the bull market doors? And can this next daily candle, and right now we're in a green daily candle, but it's been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is the 8th green daily candle. Can Bitcoin close green in the bull market door area? And if you just look at right now, Bitcoin is overbought on the daily. Doesn't mean it can't keep going, but I just want to say this is it. This is a huge resistance area. What Bitcoin does next will be very telling in terms of the power that it has this cycle. Remember, if we zoom out, I'm going to zoom all the way out on a daily chart. This is where we are in context to the bull market story, right? Breaking through the bull market doors. This is what happens at that parabolic phase of the bull market. This is what we're waiting for. And it always happens after the Bitcoin halving. That's historically when it has happened in every single cycle so far, right? It happens after the Bitcoin halving. You can even go back and we can look at, sorry about that. We can go back and we can look at the cycle after the first Bitcoin halving. No, this was November 2012 Bitcoin halving. Check it out. After the halving, Bitcoin broke that Fibonacci area. So we go back, and this is really the story that's playing out. And we're zoomed out here, but this is the story we're tracking on the zoomed in. This short-term resistance that's happening right now. You can see how it's a macro, multi-cycle story. Because if Bitcoin gets rejected here, if it just can't do it, right, and starts falling and retracing, and we're going into halving, and it just hasn't happened yet, well, that's just a normal thing for Bitcoin. But the big story here is, again, if it happens before the halving, if Bitcoin just starts breaking into this area, even not even breaking above, if it just starts breaking in, this will be something Bitcoin has never done prior to the halving. And so that's why this move is so important and so critical for me as somebody that's watching technical analysis. And you can just see it happening right here on the short term, on the daily. I don't really have anything else to say in terms of Bitcoin. This is what I'm watching. I realize there's so much other, there are so many other things happening for Bitcoin. I'll note this, the 20-day just crossing above the 50-day. What do we anticipate even in scenarios like that? It's potentially a bullish thing. It usually is. But when it happens, we start anticipating, okay, maybe time for a little bit of a retracement to meet Bitcoin into those moving averages after that happens, right? So retracement to test those moving averages. And then this could be something that we're waiting for, right? That would be the third touch into that area. Now, what's so interesting to me is if we zoom out on the chart, it's a brand new week. We have basically 7 days left of this weekly candle. So we're kind of zoomed in on the daily chart, but so much can happen. So much can happen in this daily candle. But specifically, the next 24 hours, Bitcoin's making the move now at that 618 resistance. This is what I'm watching in terms of Bitcoin. In terms of ADA, I want to point something out. ADA on the weekly has just consolidated very nicely. Just check it out right off the 200-week moving average. Very nice. We're going to zoom in. We're going to look at the daily chart. We're going to look at even the 4-hour chart. But what I really want to note in context to all of this that we're talking about in terms of Bitcoin, I want to just point something out. If we go to the zoomed out, let me go actually to this one, and let's go to the last cycle. I just want to show you something. You can see Bitcoin breaking right into the bull market doors, right? Obviously post-halving, way later than it is doing now, testing that 618 area. But Bitcoin broke into that area, and you just see it. Really nice move to the upside. This is the end of October. This was happening in 2020. And then you see all basically November just on up, on up, on up. So end of October, the really nice move for Bitcoin starts. Look at ADA. Let's go to ADA, the end of October of 2020. Check it out. End of October 2020, right around here, right? And so even in November, we have some weekly candles. Look at just ADA doing nothing. So Bitcoin's just making one of the most monumental moves of its lifetime, a thing that it waits years for, cycles for, and ADA doing nothing. I just want to point that out. And that is to say, even in regards to altcoins, not just ADA, but if Bitcoin makes the move, if Bitcoin goes crazy right now and just starts breaking to the upside, 50,000, 51,000, 52. If this happens, don't be surprised if ADA just does nothing. Don't be surprised if altcoins in general are not as powerful as you'd like them to be. That is normal. The other thing I just want to note really briefly on the ADA chart is this. It's kind of cool that this move that we've been, from a technical analysis perspective, just kind of comparing the current ADA move with, just so many similarities. We've noted it's happening a lot earlier this time. Last time it happened post-halving. But the move, right, plays into the move right before Bitcoin was breaking its bull market doors. So it's kind of such a similar vibe from a technical analysis perspective. If Bitcoin were to break through those doors, we get that early pump into the parabolic bull prior to the halving. ADA is making an almost identical move to the move it made last cycle. And this time it's not at 10-cent consolidation. This time it's at 50-cent consolidation. Wanted to point that out. So that's ADA on the weekly. And again, the point of that was to say, if Bitcoin just goes crazy right now, don't be surprised if altcoins don't. Going to the daily, I want to point this out because it's kind of in play. That is to say, this setup, falling wedge on ADA, 70 to 72 cent target to the upside. Just something that I noticed because I've been doing a lot of the 4-hour, just kind of tracking the 4-hour specifically in terms of ADA, AVAX, Solana, just this general consolidation that was happening here. It looks very similar to this pattern that I charted in the Bitcoin video before Bitcoin broke out to the upside. That's why I'm saying Bitcoin could be a leading indicator for altcoins in this regard because ADA, as you see, hasn't really broken out of that consolidation. Kind of has an area which is around 53 to 54 cents that it's kind of kind of struggling with right now. You can see it just a little bit of resistance there. We broke above and now we're testing it again. So it's just kind of grappling with this area. And I'm just watching to see if ADA will see support at the general area and continue to the upside. Shorter term target around 65 cents. And what is that for ADA? If it does make the move, if it does follow the move and we hit 65 cents, there could be potential resistance there. And we have a pretty large ascending triangle for ADA that I believe we talked about in the last video that I did, with a $1.20 target to the upside. Now, I can't say this enough. There's no guarantee that all this speculation plays out, right? Meaning we go and we hit 65-cent target and then we're consolidating and then we're going into halving, but ready to break $1. Things could play out differently. For Bitcoin, I mean, as far as Bitcoin's concerned, Bitcoin could see resistance here at these bull market doors, 618. ADA hasn't touched those moving averages yet. The 20 around 45 cents, the 50 around 37 cents on the weekly chart. That area of consolidation is still in play. That would be the very similar move to what happened back here, meaning falling into these areas, into that general range of those moving averages. Remember, those things are always in play, no matter how bullish things might look, things might appear, Bitcoin might appear, no matter how bullish you feel, there's downside in play. So we have a new weekly candle for ADA. I think the biggest thing I'm watching, it really kind of does start on the 4-hour chart. I'm very curious. And it's not just ADA, it's these other altcoins I mentioned as well. Here's AVAX. That's what it looks like on the 4-hour. Here's Solana on the 4-hour. A little bit of a different setup in terms of the more midterm pattern, but very similar on that zoomed in. Just this consolidation happening. I'm very curious to see what ADA does in the short term. Short-term support to the downside. If ADA starts falling, I will call it this lower trend line around 50 cents. Pretty big mental area too, but 50 cents if ADA is going to fall back to the downside, I'd say we have a nice ascending triangle in play at that point. And again, the 65-cent target to the upside. Either way, I just think this general area of consolidation has a target of around 65 cents to the upside if we can get support at this area where ADA is right now. So support if ADA falls, 50 cents is what I'd be watching. And then target to the upside if ADA just takes off, I'd be watching 65 cents as that next target for ADA. So time will tell. This is what I'm watching. I think the macro is probably the more important kind of part of the video, where we are in these cycles and why so much right now is, so many eyes right now are on Bitcoin, because it really is truly the roadmap for crypto and crypto cycles and this next bull market. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below, everybody. I appreciate you cruising through. Hit the subscribe if you're not a subscriber. Turn the notifications on. I'm trying to crank out these videos every day for y'all. Bitcoin, crypto news, Cardano, altcoin charts, all that good stuff. So hit the like button as well if you enjoyed this video. I'll see you in the next video. God bless.